I'll take this all day long. Welcome back to episode 2 of Warehouse Sessions. I am Kendall Miles, your host, and today I have a very special guest joining me, a dear friend of mine, Daria Pająk.
Wow, you said it actually correctly.
I know, it's not Pajak.
Yeah. It's not Pajak. Hi guys, thanks so much for having me.
Of course.
It's very cool.
And of course, we have Chad McLean and Shane Peterson joining me as well. Two of the biggest names out here at Storm, helping me do this awesome thing. But no, Daria, like I said, we're glad to have you on. First off, kind of tell us what's been going on. It's been a long couple of years, obviously, in bowling and for us and things like that. So tell us what's been going on with you.
To be honest, it's been a tough couple of years, right? In the world and everything happening, but things are looking out fine. I am getting ready for the tour. So I'm visiting here and I'm drilling bows and, hanging out with you guys. And so that's very cool. Always before the tour, I try to come here. And then I'm going to go on tour. The only issue that I'm really facing now is my elbow injury.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives me a bit of anxiety not knowing if, my body's going to hold up. Because I bow with quite a great amount of pain. So that's really annoying. But I'm going to try to get on painkillers when I get on tour. I'm not on painkillers right now, so I hope that's going to be okay. The moment I really like my elbow last the tour, I'm going to be super happy about it. And we'll see, I'm going to give it all. I'm really enjoying being back in the States because now I live in Europe.
Yeah.
Things are different in Europe. It's very cool. It's very refreshing to be back here.
So what's the training look like in Europe so far? Like, are you practicing a lot? Are you in the gym? Are you bowling less because of your elbow? Like, how's that training been going so far?
It's just that I was diagnosed in November and December that, I have the chronic elbow pain. It's a golfer's elbow and tennis elbow. I was told to take many weeks off and then do plasma shots and do rehabs. And I followed through on everything. And the most annoying fact is that as much as I was reassured that my elbow needs rest, which I gave it to, it didn't really help much, right? So I did practice because I was on painkillers for like 1 month before the tour. I was practicing quite much. I was in Holland and it was really cool because I was really nicely welcomed to the bowling center. It was new for me, but they would put like patterns for me. I could request whatever I wanted. It was very nice. But the worst issue, the biggest problem I had is that I was really motivated, right? Like I'm gonna fix my physical game. It's gonna be really good. But then I keep bowling and I just keep getting more and more and more pain. And it's just like, do I work on my physical game to fix it so that way when I go on tour I feel sharp? But then maybe my elbow gets worse, or I give it time and I just go with the flow and see how is it gonna work with my muscle memory from years ago.
So what you been working on lately, man?
New balls. We've got some new balls, lots of new balls coming out because we've got some holes to fill, obviously. 6 or 7 of them. And so people are just wanting new products. So we're working on some new stuff. We're working on some stuff that may remind you of things of the past. So we've got a lot of holes to fill and we're trying to mix it up.
How's life been in the old championship bowling, Shane Peterson life?
Been good, man. We've been cruising along. We've got some PBA regionals coming up that we're going to offer free coverage of. So,
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide, Sport Bible Australia.
No big deal.
But free PBA action. Not many times you get to see that stuff.
But you're also getting your feet wet bowling as well now. You've been getting in front of the camera.
Been bowling
That's true. I keep
Yeah,
seeing
right?
on my Instagram feed a lot more than I did in the past.
I finally felt somewhat comfortable throwing the ball and had some decent results. Still can't get out of your thing. So I've been
Join the thing train, baby.
And that's going to be the plan in June when I go to Vegas. The old South Point Plaza. Just throw pitch black at the guy. Worked pretty good in Bowler's Journal, so
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
that's my plan.
So before we get into talking about social media, I want to ask Daria a question here. So you guys, your schedule gets pretty jam-packed for the next couple of weeks here, and of course you're here in the States and you don't have a permanent residency. So people who are watching and people want to follow kind of your dream, what you're doing. What's it like week to week, chasing the tour and finding balance with friends and fun and staying in hotels? What is that like week to week?
There's no balance really, because when we are on tour, it's so much bowling. There's no time to balance it out. But we're all getting ready for that in the postseason. We know that like once we are on the season, all it is, it's gonna be bowling, right? So there is no like balance to do other things. Like when you have day off, like yeah, I can do something. But I personally love to sleep, right? So give me a day off, I'm gonna sleep.
Yeah.
You know? So just the biggest like obstacles I have found is that when I moved out from the States, now I live in Europe, so I don't have a home here. It's when I have to travel, and it's like more than 2, 3, 4 days that we don't have anything happening, and normally I would go home. That's when you can like restart, refresh, you know, like reboot. But I don't get that. I feel like I'm stuck in that bubble that for me is just that traveling and it's constantly chasing the events, and I don't get that 2, 3 days that I can go home and you know just
Kinda
like, hang
recharge.
out with my friends and just completely forget about bowling, right? So I just go shopping sometimes, you know. That's how I deal with things. Take me shopping, let me sleep. But yeah, that's probably like the only issue that I have faced because PWBA tour schedule is a lot different than the guys at PBA. It's a lot more condensed, right? So we have a tournament after tournament after tournament. So in whole reality, I feel like if I had a home here and I was living here, I don't even know if I would get to go home for the next 8 weeks.
Right. So are you, like your days off, like that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, are you ever like practicing harder or are you taking a complete break from bowling to be refreshed for the
I
tournament?
really don't know because it's very hard to say what's my normal, right? Like my normal in 17 and 18 was that I would practice a lot because I struggled a lot with my spares. So in those 3 days, I would go and just like, you know, like do a lot of spares.
Yeah.
And it was more mentally just to know like, yeah, I put in work. But now I feel like with the injury, I have to play it by the ear, really. Like I have no idea. What if my elbow hurts so much I have to withdraw it? There is a possibility that can happen, you know.
Yeah.
So I cannot say that like, yeah, I'm gonna practice hard in between because maybe in between that's when I have to go to acupuncture or chiropractor or massage. I really don't know. I'm still learning how to.
Does that take a toll like mentally? Are you getting frustrated yet?
Oh my God. Let's talk about, I was so frustrated, guys. You know, there's an app home. And it's like a meditating app, and they have the special section how to deal with injuries.
Oh,
so
nice.
like when you like meditate, they're telling you like, oh, let your body heal, calm down, and you're like, you know, I tried everything because it takes a big toll on you, and it's especially in this like everyday life when I live knowing I'm ignorant, and then like I forget about it, and I grab something, and my elbow hurts, and it's like right away, you know, like. The machine is starting. It's like, yeah, I have pain. I have to practice. How do I deal with it? How do I do it? So mentally, I think it's a lot harder than physically. Because the pain is not something that I'm sure that Chad is in a lot more pain than I am. But for me, it's like constant, steady pain. Sometimes harsh when I bowl, but it's really nothing that I cannot bear, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like that. I feel it. Like I don't want to feel it. I'm annoyed. Take it away from me.
Well, I know McLean back in the day, which seems like a lifetime ago, when we lived in Florida together, you used to chase the regional tours every so often. And it was week to week at times. What'd you do? And obviously you lived in Florida, so it was a little bit different in comparison. So like, what'd you do to keep balance? What'd you do to work hard, train, get ready for events, but also keep balance in your personal life as well?
Like had a shop there, so I was in the mix of the ball tech and things like that, so that helped mentally train. Physically train, I bowl every night, try and soda somewhere and
Did you?
just work on different things. Use balls that I shouldn't use on, you know, like that I would not normally use, so it would be harder to hit a shot. So things like that. But that was the balance because I didn't want to be away from home and the family for longer than I could stand. So I used that time at the alley too for my training.
Yeah, you made the best of it. If you're gonna be away from home, you're like, I'm gonna make sure I'm like making this time worth it.
And now that role is reversed. Like nowadays, I just want to be home all the time.
Yeah.
Be up skiing with my daughter.
Is that because you've got older, or have your priorities changed, or?
I think, physically, I still feel fine. Like,
Yeah.
I can
Can't
probably cookie.
We're all thinking it. She just said it. It's okay.
But I was just being stupid. Anyway, it's just I think it's a combination. But I do like my time at home.
Yeah. So I know what helps you week to week is your bowling trio with Verity and Diana. So how big of a role do they play with kind of keeping that fun, lightheartedness balance week to week for you?
I think people don't realize that how much of comfort it's giving you. That you know that every year you have the friendship, that like you travel together, you book the hotels together, you do everything together. So like it's taking away that guessing, like, oh, who am I gonna be rooming with this year?
Yeah, that
Like,
helps.
let's ask this person, you know. It takes that away because we just know we're gonna be together. And Verity is like super good with like, you know, checking the flights and booking everything.
Yeah.
We really like work very well as a team. I'm probably the worst in that because I'm very not organized and I'm a bit like all over the place. But I give the girls usually a free hand to like, yeah, don't worry, like yeah, whatever you choose, I'm
Yeah.
cool. I'm cool for that. I would usually be a driver though, so I'm renting cars.
There
and
you go.
driving.
There you go.
So everybody has like their own like not roles because I wouldn't call it that way because we're very chill as we go. But it's also nice that like when we're in a hotel room, we have a lot of more things to talk about other than bowling, right? Because they're not just my tour roommates. They're not just people that I am hanging out and talking to when we're traveling. They're my friends.
Yeah, yeah.
So you know we can talk about like anything, and it's really cool that we are not stuck in that bubble talking about, you know, bowling balls, patterns, how did you attack it? Did you see how she bowled? Did you see what she did? Oh my God. And we just talk like, you know, maybe we should go to Aruba next year. Yeah, let's do it.
Go see Camila.
You know, yeah, to see Camila. That's cool. That dynamic, I really appreciate it.
I think it's cool. I think like the three of y'all have done a really, really good job of like sharing your tour life, like with social media, because you're inspiring a lot of young girls and even guys too that want to bowl on PBA tour to like you're chasing it and you're making it look fun, you're making it look inviting, you're making it look like people want to do it, you know.
Because it is, you know, it really is. It's just that social media itself like takes a big toll on me
Okay.
because I treat it. I wouldn't say it's my work, but it is becoming something that I have to constantly do in order to keep people up with my life. Because I feel like my life is very fast paced, and I take a very pride in like just being very connected with people that follow me, right? So I do have like a newsletter team that I send like stories about like what's happened in my life, like very long newsletter, sometimes shorter. This is the group to where I share a bit more like personal stuff, you know, like that's something I want to post on Facebook. But other than that, like I feel like I really want to show people the lifestyle of a professional bowler because I feel like it's still not being shown enough, right?
Nice. Okay.
I remember the times because I got on social media in 2017. That's when I signed my first contract, and I told the sponsors like, listen, I am gonna be like showing my practices. So your products are gonna be showcased on my Facebook page. But my real why was that when I was smaller, I never knew what does it take to be a professional bowler, how it works. I just saw, you know, Chris Barnes on TV or Tommy Johns. I'm like, cool, but like how? Like how does it work? So I was like, okay, I have a chance to be that person on TV. Like, why don't I show it to people how it's done? So that was my why, right? That's why I was starting to do like posts in 2 languages because I wanted to reach the Polish audience.
Totally. Yeah.
Because I wanted to show people from back home, like, hey, listen, that's like what I'm doing, and I don't know what's gonna end up, right? That's why I was very transparent, and I was a bit judgmental too about like this whole bowling world and stuff, and what it takes to get there. And for some reason, like people from the US had caught up on that, like my post, they liked it, I won on TV, and then boom, and it started.
That's cool that you did that without you accepted that responsibility without someone telling you to do it or like you have to do this to make an impact. You just decided to wake up and do that one day.
Yeah, I really thought it was like a very cool way of showing people what does it take to be a professional bowler, what I do, and maybe what will like help someone, you know, because I felt I was very privileged being in Kegel Training Center, right?
Totally.
It was just like amazing technology. You guys here also have amazing technology, right? So you know, like Kegel, it's like everything that the bowler wants and all the technology. And I was like, yeah, it's so cool. I want to show it. This is what can be done. And bowling is a sport that is just constantly developing, right? So much more technology is coming into play. And the thing that is the worst about bowling, right, is because nobody really understands it. Because we bowl on this like invisible environment, so people don't know what we're dealing with, right?
Right.
So the only way we can explain it is by using technology, right? So we have Specto, and now on TV shows you have that, so people are like,
Yeah,
like
right.
I can see where they threw those balls. So we have to use technology and social media to really get that bowling out to people that have no idea what is it about,
Right.
Because it's not about
So
like.
do you think as a professional bowler, your role is to promote bowling, in a way?
Yeah, 100%.
So do you think it's kind of the professional bowler's responsibility to have a social media presence to promote the bowling like you have?
It depends on what's their why, My why is I really want to push bowling because I realize that the bigger the bowling gets, the better for me as a professional bowler, right? But some people don't want to be put in the spotlight, right? Because they don't want to be seen as like, I remember the times I would come to like the bowling center with like the tripod, right? And I was being called influencer, like, oh, influencer, okay. It's the little needles that people were putting because you were doing something different than others were. And the same comes down to a lot of things. Like you warm up before you bowl the league and people are like, oh, you're warming up. Like when you do something different than like what the normal is, people judge you. And a lot of people don't feel comfortable enough to push through it and go through the judgment. And then, then we have the hate and all the comments on social media. Not everybody wants to deal with it. And I completely understand. But I'm very, very happy to see like a lot of PBA guys and PWBA girls putting a very high quality content on Instagram and especially YouTube. What the guys are doing on YouTube, Daria and Kyle, and like all the guys that are on YouTube from PBA, that just the content is so good.
Yeah.
They're doing so much good for the bowling, and I wish everybody has that understanding that they are helping all of us. We are pushing bowling, we get the eyes on the lanes, and that's what we want.
Yeah.
So we are just, a team.
It's great. I truly love to see it. And then obviously with Chayton over here, he's done a great job with his platform
Yeah,
of.
he's all over my social.
He is, and he does it all. He does good content. He does a coaching aspect. I mean, you do a little bit of everything to get the.
We're in the trenches, man. Like where it starts. I mean, you guys obviously have a viewpoint from the professional level, and we're covering more of the local amateur and a lot of kids. There's a lot of kids around here. What you guys have done with social media is change people's perspective on the game. You can see it in these 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. 10 years ago, I would have never posted bowling on my social media because I would have laughed at it. But now these kids feel confident enough because they see you
exactly
guys
the
to
point.
post about it.
And a lot of people don't want to post their bowling, and I always wonder, it's like why, right? You have players and they bowl in college, on the college bowling team, and you don't even see like one bowling post. And then I was always wondering why.
You never know if they were bowling.
Yeah, and I feel like you guys also do a great job like pushing the bowling content. So I see it, it's cool, bowling is a cool sport.
Yeah. We have a lot of youth kids that are in high school going into college now. They love it. They're in it. They bowl all of these tournaments and they'll get in front of our camera and let us take videos of them and post it on their own social media. And you go to their page and they're bowling. You can start to see that spread across this younger generation. I think it's just going to help.
Do you think it's going up, the bowling within the younger generations? Do you think we have more
Yeah.
youth than we had in the past, or?
I think so. Like I said, back when I was a kid, and that wasn't too long ago. I mean, Phil doesn't feel too long ago. 10 years ago. At this point. I'm getting old, man.
That beard says otherwise, bro.
I'm getting old, man. Like when I was bowling, there's like 2 or 3 kids that were competitive here, and now it keeps growing, and they see you and Kyle and Kyle Troop and all these other people that are making content. Darren, I see a lot of kids that watch Darren do what Darren does.
But Darren does such a good
Yeah.
quality.
He does.
I
It's
don't
so
even
good.
have to like listen to him. I'm just like aesthetically pleased with the lights, with like how
We
he
talk about that later.
how he portrays bowling. Yeah. It's I feel like for some reason my reels on Instagram I think I got over 40, 50 million views last month because like I feel it's because the videos I've been recording are really high quality now.
Yeah.
So people that are not bowlers are like, oh,
Yeah.
and they just like look at it. The more they look, the more it's being pushed.
That's
right?
the norm everywhere else except in bowling. So like when
No,
we
we're
make a-
changing it. Don't say
we
it.
make a high quality video in bowling, it's like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But everywhere else, that's like, oh.
No, we're changing it. It's getting better. It's never been better than it is now.
Yep.
Do
So
you make your own videos?
now my boyfriend helps me with it. Yeah, he's recording them. He's a videographer, which is really cool because he really likes doing cool things, right? He's also a bowler himself, but he has this open mind and creative ideas of being like, but what people want to see that are not bowlers, right? So he's like, well, let's take more front videos because people want to see the front, right? Because they don't really care to see like from the back. But then we would do a lot of cuts, right? Or we would fly the drone, and it's like, wow, like it's just different perspectives. So I think that has been something that.
Yeah, but my girlfriend, she's the one that does all the videos while I'm working behind the scenes. But she's not a bowler, and she gets these perspectives too. She has that viewpoint of what a non-bowler would want to see out of the video. She's like, oh, that's kind of cool.
She doesn't get paid either.
Well, let's say she's the hardest person working in the brand.
So when you like his stuff, you're actually liking her stuff.
Shout out Kinsey West.
She's the one down in the trenches, down the ball returns, taking videos of people, taking pictures.
But that's cool.
It is amazing though. I mean, like our Northwest tour out here is, we have some amazing players: Alice Hoskins, Giorgio Clinaz, Clay Reese, Josh Link. I mean, that's just a name. Nick Bagara, just to name a few. And you know, it's hard to get that out in the world. And you've done it in a way of like, man, this looks really. I mean, again, when I bowl it, you know, it's our little events out here to seem like little, but they feel huge. And I feel like a superstar walking in these events because high quality video, it's high quality pictures. I mean, you captured a moment when my dad wanted you to open that probably etched in our memory for forever, and you provided that experience. You provided that, and that's just how cool like social media can connect the world, man. We have people from Atlanta we grew up with that was like, man, I can't believe that shot. I mean, you provided that. You know, same thing with you two too. Like, you provide the inspiration to young girls to want to go out and chase it. I mean, especially with, again, unfortunately the tour ending, you know, back in the early 2000s, you never knew what it was going to look like. So they brought it back again, which really revitalized a lot of that chase, you know. But again, being able to watch you guys week in and week out inspires a lot of young girls to want to chase that. So it's huge what, you know, all of everybody's creating right now to really, again, grow in the sport from an experience standpoint.
Yeah, I just want to have, I guess, one remark, right? Because I don't want people feel like, oh, every content we release, it has to be like super high quality, because that's also not the case, right? Like, there are platforms like TikTok, and I love it, right? Because TikTok lets you like get to the people that would never like really watch bowling, but for some reason it's gonna end up on their For You page. And TikTok is such a fast food of social media. You literally can just like have a selfie mode and bow, and that might drag attention. So sometimes also being like very natural and like unedited, this kind of content that is pure also works, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's why it has to be a balance, right?
He's
You
showing me
either-
some guy from Alabama. He's got like 80 million followers or something.
The bowler kid?
Yeah, the bowler.
Yeah, he's from California.
No, he's like an older guy.
Oh, yeah. Drunk Pat.
Drunk Pat.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's his handle. He's a cool dude, though.
It's all
But-
old.
Yeah.
But TikTok's just fun. Like, it's just
It
fun.
is.
It's not stuck up. And Instagram's got this little stuck up feeling
That's
sometimes.
what Instagram is trying to go away from, but it's really hard for them.
And it's quick. And like trends, I mean, a trend can be popular Monday and be gone by Friday. And you have to hop on
Oh,
that.
it was some of the trends are cool.
They are cool. They are cool. It's like the mannequin challenge, but cooler. But more modern than that.
Wow.
Favorite trend.
I cannot really recall like one now, but there is a lot of them that are like
They go so
cool.
fast.
They go so fast.
Oh, so fast.
Yeah.
On it. You get on it.
And it's nice to see bowling like moving fast like that, you know, where it's staying up with the trends and we're able to move just as agile and just as quick as anything else.
We're getting more and more kids that are in tune with TikTok
Yeah.
that are making bowling content. So
And I just learned what a meme was.
to teach Charles what a meme was.
It's just making bowling fun, you know.
Yeah.
When we like put bowling in within like the TikTok trends, then we get more eyes on bowling. Plus, the kids feel like, oh yeah, like I have an idea for the video, let's do it. And
Yeah.
because TikTok is such a fast-paced platform, like they don't really like take too much time,
Yeah.
add too many edits, and you know the set. They just
Yeah.
like do it.
Like younger kids grew up with it. Like from our aspect, we grew up with like Facebook, right? Or MySpace. MySpace, right? Our top 8 friends. You know, your top 8 friends, you're a big deal. So we grew up with MySpace and with the Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. Like we have all that. But like, you know, I mean, you got kids like Nick Reese, Lizzie Reese, Manny Farrell, like kids like that are part of Northwest Tour that they grew up video editing. They grew up with downloading pretty much anything in their hand. So them downloading a video app like CapCut or anything like that to put 10 shots together while they're practicing is nothing because they grew up doing that. It's not like, oh, I have to go watch a YouTube video or watch getting training to edit. No, they just like grew up with pretty much everything in their hand. YouTube, video editing, anything they wanted to with the palm of their hand. That's like how they grew up.
It's just fun. Like that's the hardest thing I feel like I have to get across to people. Like, wow, that ball was terrible or something. Like, man, it's just fun.
Yeah.
Bowling's fun.
How cool is that when bowling on social media has migrated from just this one shot, back video, angle, strike, right? Like how many of those shots can you see?
Right.
Like it's amazing to see like different angles that people do, like the trends, everything you talk about. It's I love it. I
Just want to have fun. That's the whole point of this game. Is to have fun.
And you are like, there's a certain point that we talked about this a few times. When you're talking about building a brand, right? Like Starbucks, for example. I think Starbucks is a great example. People don't Starbucks never sells like, oh, our mocha frap is the best or our apple this is the best. You're selling like, if you're holding a Starbucks cup, you feel better about yourself, right? That's what I feel like the cool thing about bowling is doing is like, especially within our brand, is we're not really selling, for example, the Zen Soul. We're selling like Daria loving that ball and how you feel about the experience you throwing it.
I feel good about that.
Right? Right?
Yeah, I drilled it yesterday. I drilled 2 of them yesterday. I was like, oh.
Love it.
I love
It's
it.
amazing. I can't wait to see you throw it on
Yeah,
Twitter for
love
sure.
it.
But I mean, Chad's done a phenomenal job with video edits, and same with Paul behind the camera. Shout out Paulo Block. These two guys have done a phenomenal job within the Storm walls to make Storm look dope. Like, you kind of forget like what ball I was throwing, but like the edits and the cuts and the music and this and that, it's like, man, that was an awesome video. And like that's what people I feel like are gonna fall in love with more of like the feeling that Storm provides. It's like, man, this is a cool video. I can't wait for them to post one. Then like, oh man, that, High Road Max or that whatever ball rode phenomenal. I can't wait to see it strike more. You know what I mean? I think that's like more of the better way bowling's moving and like branding as a whole can move. I think again, same thing you've done with that. You've made your brand feel young, feel edgy, feel like it's with the times. I don't know what ball you were throwing in whatever video, but that messenger that's slung across the, I'm like, that's awesome. That makes me want to go bowl. You know what I mean? And that's the exciting part about it.
And that forces them, not forces them, but they reach out and they ask questions about it. And
Right.
it's our obligation to reach back out and help them out,
Connect.
help them understand. So I don't think there's a single person I won't respond to on Instagram.
We have a beautiful sport because guy, girl, young, old, strong, weak, it doesn't matter when or where you came from or what you do, you can play this sport. Again, like I just mentioned, my dad's 54 and still bowls competitively at a high level.
Your eyes as if it was like really he's 54.
I might have dug myself a little hole there.
Yeah,
I'll pay for that later. It's okay. But he still competes at a high level. And I mean, like,
He's
how
good.
many sports can you compete with your father or, whatever to do that at a high level? And so,
Do you guys know how many sports have this like a senior professional tour? Like we have in bowling, right? They have the senior.
only golf.
Senior
That's,
Golf?
yeah.
Can you imagine like a senior football?
Thinking tennis.
Soccer? No, right?
Yeah,
It's no. Yeah, I think we have to like really
Come on
push
back.
that message. Yeah, because it's beautiful, right? That we have a lot of youth, and youth, I mean like 6 years old.
Yeah.
Like bowling tournaments, knowing the lane courtesy is cool.
Anybody can make the content. It's all relatable, whether you're novice to the best bowl in the world and guy, girl, old, young. Like, it's good for anybody to make content. Whoever, no matter who you are. Like, oh, I don't average 235. I can't make no. Like, go do it. We encourage everybody to go and make whatever content you think is going to be good because someone out there is going to relate to you. And someone who doesn't bowl is going to relate to you as well. And that might get them into the sport because they're like, oh, I can do that, or I can help him with that, or whatever. It's just bringing the community a little bit more together and making it bigger because someone's going to relate to you. It's got to happen. There's billions of people in this world. Like, someone's going to relate to what you do, find it amazing, and then inspire them to want to get into the sport as well.
True. With that. But also we have to know that not everybody wants to be in a spotlight, and we have to respect it. Right?
Absolutely.
Because not everybody wants to like be on social media, and not everybody like thinks that this is how they want to be. So, but I'm very happy for those who decide to be and
And be kind.
keep doing it.
Be
Yeah.
kind to people who are, putting their content out there and being vulnerable enough to do that. You know, be
Social
kind.
media is a nasty word, though, right?
Yeah.
We know it. The moment we post content, we know that there is gonna be that like few people that just gonna like put that needle and like just what can they say to like make her upset? And then sometimes when I read some of my comments, right, it's like
Does that get to you at all? Like, does that ever discourage you or encourage you more or less?
no, not anymore. Like comments like, "Oh my God, you're so stupid," right? Like,
You get
like
that one all the time.
no, but like that one though. Or like, "Oh, you're so fat." I've gotten like this. Like last week, I had a guy that would message me like every day about like, "Oh my God, you put so much weight," and then, "Oh my God, you're tired. It's so annoying. Lose weight." You know, like this. No, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
But sometimes when a person would tell me like, "Oh my God, like if you had made that spare, you would have, I don't know, made the cut, but you keep on sucking." Then it gets in your head a bit, you know, because if there is a small grain of truth in that, whatever that person says, then it can get to you. But to be honest,
It's why, man. Like, why?
Just get numb to it.
I think eventually you do, yeah. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes I screenshot and post it on my feed because when I scroll through, okay, so on Instagram, I just realized it's like you have the main inbox, right? Then you have the request, and there is one more.
Hidden.
There is a hidden request.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
Drop some knowledge. Drop some knowledge.
That's the dark web of
Yeah. Oh my
risque stuff.
When I went on that, I was amazed. I was like, wow, things people say, you know. It was very funny as well, but yeah.
I kind of try to own it and like make more content.
That's true.
But what hits me is when they get like kids.
Oh, it's
Or
got
when we're like telling kids they're not doing very good or like doing
I
those
did
things
have
to
one
younger kids.
young player message me, and it really hit me.
Yeah.
She's very young, and she messaged me like, "Hey, how do you deal with hate? Because I don't know how to handle it anymore." Right? She's super active on like social media. She does amazing for the sport. She's so young, and yet she's getting hate.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, like she would reach out to me, knowing because my presence is quite strong, so I also get that hate. She knows I do. And she reaches out like, how can I handle it? And it's very saddening, you know. I feel like we never have to go through that, right? Being 12, like all I care about is like what I'm gonna wear to the school next day, or you know, who did the homework so I can just, you know, copy it. That's all I care. I didn't care about like some comments online, and now it's a brutal world, definitely.
I mean, I'm glad that you were able to help her, like, kind of keep going through it all. Did you have any, like, early on, like, you know, post-graduation, things like that? Like, how did you keep going? Was somebody encouraging you, or did you see light in the tunnel? Like, when it got...
With bowling?
With social media and bowling and bad comments, like, what made you kind of keep going?
I loved it, you know. It was always very natural for me. I never went to Weber, to the States in college because I wanted to be a professional bowler. There was no tour.
Mm-hmm.
I just went because I loved bowling. It was like, let me get better, you know. There was tournaments in Europe I could bowl. It's like, I want to do that, right? It happened, the tour showed up, but I felt like I was not ready to be on tour. So I took one year break after college and I started working. I was bartending. I'm a very good bartender. Watch out. I have a heavy hand. But yeah, I was bartending in Applebee's, right? And then the time came in December when somebody told me, it was like, Daria, you should bowl like World Series.
Oh, that's
World
right.
Series,
Yeah, I
right?
remember.
16.
Yep.
And I went to Applebee's and I'm like, listen guys, I'm gonna be gone for 2 weeks. And I never came back. I made the cut of the World Series, which was really good. Did you know I lead after 6 games on Cheetah? I saw my name on top. I freaked out. I bought like 180, 170, and I was like, I just want to make the cut. I cannot be first. But the feeling of like, I was so unready to go on tour that year, but I bought some events. I bought Queens and I bought the World Series. And seeing my name on top there, it was just like a spark for me. Like, oh, maybe. Why not?
That was the moment.
That was the moment. I was sharing all that experiences with people, and I was very pure with it because I came in to a lot of things with no expectations.
Right.
So I wasn't like bragging about like how ready I was and how good I felt. I was just like, you know, the day before I was crying on the kitchen like table, and I was crying to my boyfriend, being like, I'm so unready. My follow through is here. I'm not gonna make my spares. I'm gonna make a fool out of myself. And I shared on social media saying like, hey, it's not gonna be pretty, right? A few days later, I see myself on top. I did freak out. But I was there for some time.
She learned from it, though. That's the best part about it. Next time you're leading, you maybe won't freak out and you'll shoot 210 instead of 170.
Who knows? But yeah, these little things, right? I think that's why bowling guys is so addictive and a way, because we might keep failing, but there might be that one shot that is like, whoa. Or there might be that one game or something, or the ball that you drill that's gonna be like, I wanna go back to bowling. And I feel like once you're a bowler, you're always gonna be a bowler, because you're always gonna be like having that, if I go bowl, I know it's gonna take me some time, and I'm gonna be back to bowling leagues and the people, the environments, the competitiveness of that.
Right.
It's awesome, and I think it's
Kind of have to have that, right? Like, because the most winningest player on tour was Walter Ray. I think he won 4.2% of his tournament. So if you're only driven with how much you won, then I think that would make it a lot harder to keep going. So you kind of have to have that built within you and a love for the sport to just like, oh man, I like that shot felt great. Let me do it again. Let me do it again. Or even the other way, like, oh, that shot felt bad. I want to go do it good again. That is the addictive aspect to it.
I feel like nobody really realizes on like lower levels of playing that bowling is a constant struggle.
Yeah.
Even for the best bowlers, it's still a constant struggle, right? I really don't believe that there's like PBA guys that bowl like for a whole month. In the whole month, they feel like they own it. That it's amazing. It's so easy, and all they do is just like make bad ball changes, but their game feels sharp. It's not like that. But when we watch it, because professionals are so used to understanding their feelings and knowing how to calm them down, it feels like they're not nervous. So we look at these people, like Jason Belmonte, let's say, and
Right.
we're like, oh my God, he's not nervous at all. While he's probably having those butterflies, knowing that he has to like stand there and double for the win, right? Because that feeling, that never goes away. It's
Right.
just how we handle it is different, and how people see it. And by how they see it, they feel like, oh, they're not nervous at all. It's not true.
Were you nervous for your first title?
Yeah. Yeah, I was. But it was very cool because I felt I think the fact that I was on TV with the Weber girls, we won the
Yeah.
national championship a year before. For some reason, when I walked in that day and I saw the setup, it felt very familiar.
Okay.
You know, it didn't feel like, wow, right? But I didn't feel the same way when I made the US Open TV show and it was live. The live aspect of the game is, I think after this day, it makes me a bit anxious.
Really?
You know, I don't know why, but it's maybe something about the short clock or something that might happen that is live that gives me a different sense of the environment, right? That the pre-taped feels a lot different than live.
Is there something you like wrote down, or is there anything that like you're like, next time I'm in this experience, like I learned from last time? Is there something you're gonna take over if you bowl live again?
Yeah, there's always something like that. I've bowled in a few TV shows ever since I won. I haven't won another one. So there's always gonna be something that I'm gonna try to do better, right? But at the end of the day, I feel like it has to be the right time, the right mindset, the right ball, right?
Yeah.
The right circumstances, and winning is hard. It's
It
really hard.
is.
Chris Barnes, I think, made a comment. I think it was Brad Miller's like first show, and it's like if you get coached, sometimes they tell you to like it's just every other shot, it's just another shot, it's just another shot. But Chris said it's not, and your body knows that it's not another shot. The shot clock's different. There's going to be all these different things that will be different. So it could never be just another shot.
You can even hear your steps now.
Yeah,
when
being
it's
dead
like,
silent.
You can hear people
Ooh,
breathe,
I
you
hate-
know?
Hear
He
yourself
says
breathe.
Just own it. Own and accept that it is a different shot. Because your body knows it's a different shot. Your heart rate goes up, the adrenaline's pumping, and it will never be the fifth frame in qualifying. This is this frame in the live show right now. You have to just kind of own it and then live in it and accept it. And that was pretty cool.
Chris dropping some knowledge on him, dropping some facts.
He's really cool,
Big
Chris
brain.
Barnes.
Yeah,
Really.
he is.
Like, yeah.
You're gonna talk about someone else great for the sport.
Yeah.
And his son is already turning into quite the player.
Man, I wish I was good at that.
Right?
That fast, too. Man.
So you're a few days out from the first event, right? A few days out in Rockford? We're in Rockford. Do you feel prepared? You feel pretty excited? You ready to go?
I don't know what I feel. Like, for real. I'm very happy I came here. So, like, Alex and everybody can help me with, like, understanding the equipment, drilling balls. I feel like every time I come here, it's something always new, you know?
Yeah.
And it's something that, like, maybe Alex might say that I have no idea what he's talking about, right?
No.
But a week from now, so a week from now, I might be
Same.
like, you know, like thinking about it. It's cool.
Yeah, it'll come like you'll understand it, what he's saying. Like once you experience it, you're like, oh, okay, Alex said that last week.
Exactly.
Now I see what the ball's doing. Now it makes sense.
Yeah, so
Cool.
that's why I like coming here. Whether I'm super excited, yeah, I'm very excited before the first BWBA. I feel we have sold out. I think there's even a PTQ because there was so many
Oh,
people
great.
wanting to bowl. So that's very exciting, you know, that the women's bowling is really coming in strong this year after COVID because nobody knew what was
Yeah.
going to happen, right? And we have a pro-am for the first time since COVID. So
That's
we
super
actually
exciting.
have 2 pro-ams, right? And 2 means that there is so many people that want to bowl with us that we have to have 2. Great news, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see. I hope that like you guys are gonna watch us or
Yeah.
just compete. It's gonna be fun.
We're looking forward to watching everybody compete. I mean, it's really cool what PWA has created. I mean, the unity you guys have, but also the fierce competitiveness is it's a pleasure to watch. And I know the 3 of us, everybody else, is super excited to watch. Just know that we're supporting you more and more. We're supporting you as much as we possibly can. I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. This was cool.
My
This was really
pleasure.
fun. Thank you guys as well for being on as always, dropping some knowledge, some facts. It's always fun. As always, like I said, guys, anything else you guys want to see, really anything, sky's the limit on what we can really talk about, what we can have, what we can do. It's all for you guys. We want to be able to chat and really come together with everyone watching. So again, thank you, Paulo, blocking behind the camera, for putting this whole thing together. Really appreciate you, man. You see his shadow somewhere near. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, it's always been a pleasure to talk with everybody and do this. And we'll definitely catch you in the next one. See you guys soon.